In 20XX is a journey into an evolving future. Based on hard science, this series depicts a world of rapidly changing technology. The world changes with each episode. I use text-to-speech to make the podcast because doing so frees up more time for me to focus on research and content creation. I want to bring to you as much of this future world as I can with the time I have. Rate the show so others can find it. Cautionary listening is advised.
Lenny runs down the curving hall shouting, "When did you find out?" DeAndre and Drawley, wearing matching skirts, follow. Kids and robots move out of the way. Mag tech has been placed under the carpet in this hall, and 3 boys bump into each other in the wall as they slide around, the soles of their shoes floating a centimeter off the floor. DeAndre pants. "Right before I told you, they're streaming it." Many of the kids they pass wear belts, hats, and skirts made of woven ogre leaves, the newly engineered life form that grows most of the food. The skins of 2 girls holding hands reflects metallic shimmers. These 2 gene-hacked themselves to make their skins shine like that. Lenny, DeAndre, and Drawley near a crowd standing around a door. Some step away while others hold their ground. People range in age from 14 to 20. Animated images replace each other on some of the printed clothes. Other signs of gene biohacking include hair colored like peacock feathers, and eyes the colors of pink, purple, or green. Lenny slows just enough to avoid knocking into those who won't step away. "Step back! You guys, step away from the door!" They reluctantly move. He holds his hand, palm out, but the door doesn't open. Shaking his head, he grabs the handle. "Why is this locked?" A boy of 14 with the needles from a ogre lung sac piercing his ears says, "They barricaded it." Lenny bumps a girl out of the way. "Grok!" Others jump as he slams himself into the door. "Assist, I need a loot in here. Emergency. Step back, everyone." He yanks at the handle and throws his total weight against the door several times. Looking around at the glum faces, he makes eye contact with a boy who's gene-hacked himself to grow taller and more muscular. Though only 14, he stands as tall as Lenny and weighs 30 kilos more, and it's weight due to muscle. Lenny signals him over. "You, knock open this door." The boyish face looks cut and pasted onto his muscular body. "Me?" "Yes. Put those muscles to use." Lenny steps to the side. Embarrassed, the boy steps forward. He hesitates, leans forward, and bumps against the door, but there's little force behind it. Lenny stomps his feet. "Oh crap!" A horn honks. Drawley has taken manual control of a lifter bot and drives it toward the group. "Move out of the way!" The headless bot's forearms move centimeters off the floor. Its 3 finger grippers are curled into fists. Meanwhile, Drawley Air gestures to work the controls. More people and bots arrive, crowding the hall. People scatter. Drawley drives the lift to just in front of the door. Lenny glares from under lowered eyebrows. "Do it!" The bot backs up and then drives full speed into the door. The door frame snaps as it breaks off on the other side, and the door swings open. After the bot, Lenny enters, followed by others into the fellowship room. He runs around the bot and lands on his knees next to the first of 3 bodies lying on the floor. 2 boys and a girl wearing contraptions that enclose their heads lie motionless. People entering the room cover their mouths and noses against the smell. Mostly pink bio-waste oozes out of holes on the sides of the machines and piles up on the carpet. The machines make scraping sounds as they vibrate. Lenny shakes his hands at the boy next to him. "Hello, hello, can you hear me?" DeAndre steps forward. "They already did it, Lenny. The machines are more than halfway done. It's too late." "Why? Why?" Lenny draws his hands back and closes them into fists. A girl with gene-altered eyelashes that cover her cheeks when she blinks says, "They wanted to go back with their parents. Their parents were signed up for the uploading. Don't you see? Their parents are in the cloud, and these 3 can join them." Among the crowd forming near the door, a girl bursts into tears, covers her face, and pushes her way out of the room. Others watch Lenny. but their expressions are wide-eyed and ghoulish. Many of them will suffer recurring trauma from seeing this. A boy of 15 mumbles, "It's okay. It's okay." He knocks into people as he leaves. Lenny stands and faces everyone. "Listen, digitized brains don't work." His voice squeaks with strain. "Listen closely. Look, uploaded to where? WorldNet is gone. Gone. Even if those things could upload, no one has been able to make digitized brains work. That was before the storm. Even if their parents got scanned and uploaded, they probably will never be brought to life in the cloud." He notices a stack of brain scanners in one corner, about 20 of them. "Where did they get these?" The girl hangs her head. "Up top, we brought them down." "Hi, Miss Flecky." Everyone looks at the doorway where Miss Flecky stands, gaping at the kids on the floor. Others cower as Lenny's voice grows louder. "We aren't to have these here. Drawley, DeAndre, help me lock these away." The lashes girl turns to the group. They're back with their parents. They went home. Lenny swings around to face her. "They did not. These 3 people are now gone. Their lives are over, forever." Another girl in the back of the group raises a hand. "What about Guru Frisky? She's alive." Lenny puts his hands to his forehead. "Guru Frisky is an emulated personality. That is something totally different. Guru Frisky never had her brain scanned. She recorded herself massively when alive and used that data to mold an AI to act like her. Do you see the difference? She never chose to die. Everyone out of here right now. We're getting rid of those things, and from now on they're banned in the shelter. Miss Flecky, could you step away from the door?" Wearing a long, shapeless dress, Miss Flecky stands as if in a daze, staring at the green lights flashing on the machines covering the 3 kids' heads. Lenny and Drawley ride the cage lift up. Inside the giant cylinder shaft that the 12-story elevator came down, they've built a much smaller elevator made of an assembled pipe cage and pallet floor. Lights drop away as they rise into darkness. Lenny shines a flashlight around, looking at the stone-like walls in the cavernous space. Some of the loudest sounds made by the storm far above reach their ears, mutated by a column of echoes into pulsing waves that build and fade. The pulleys connected to the cage and to cables that reach all the way from the top shift and squeak. The cage responds to any movement the 2 riders make, and that's why Drawley moves as little as possible, and dreads how much Lenny swings his weight around. Their glasses show glowing holographic replicas of their eyes that match the expressions they make. Drawley grips one pipe with both hands, saying, "They want personal recording devices. You know, the encrypted streaming pendants, bracelets, that sort of thing." Lenny leans out of the cage. "Who?" "Everyone. They all do. They all want to make digital twins of themselves, like Guru Frisky." Lenny gives his head a shake. "We can't make those. We have to save production for things that keep us alive." Drawley tenses as the cage shifts. "But we have lots of production automation, and enough power." Lenny switches footing. "We're running out of raw material. Where do we order refined zinc from? The last I checked, the silicone providers haven't been answering the phone." Drawley takes one hand from the pipe and wipes it on his pant leg. "What do I tell them about the life capture devices?" "Tell them they can't live forever. No. Tell them to come up with solutions for dwindling raw materials. Maybe that'll change their focus." They both remain silent for a few minutes. After the confines of the shelter, this space feels vast and mysterious. Drawley says, "You know, HealthWatch has counted 11 pregnancies." Lenny gasps. "Pregnancies? My root, they're just kids. Do you think we should, I don't know, sterilize them or something?" Drawley says, "We can't do that. We can offer sex and family planning education." Lenny jerks his head to shake his bangs from his eyes. Oh, geez. Winter sits at a table with 5 other femmes. These are the original popular girls, ranging in age from 17 to 19. Though nearly all the kids in the colony don't segregate into groups, these 5 hold on to their exclusive status. They chat while applying makeup. "That looks good on you." "How do you make your eyeliner look like that?" The biotic makeup they apply doesn't sit atop their skin like paint. Instead, it merges with it, seeping beneath the surface and tinting the deeper layers. Others in the cafeteria avoid their table. and the surrounding tables remain empty, even though the room fills and seats get taken. Trays tap tabletops and conversations murmur. People notice when Lenny comes in and walks toward the hot girl table. He doesn't pay much attention to his surroundings and seems to have other things on his mind. He doesn't notice that others stop eating and talking to watch what happens. The 5 girls continue chatting and swapping makeup. He walks up to them and stands across from where Winter sits. He clears his throat, but the girls easily continue talking as if he isn't there. He says, "Winter." Winter half closes her eyes. "Emmy, why don't you use the blue eyeshadow? It looks really nice on you." "You think so? Bree, do you have it?" Lenny says louder. "Winter, can we talk?" "I thought the pink goes better with my hair." "It does, but with that shirt you're wearing, I think the blue is better." Lenny rolls his eyes. "Winter." Gertrude looks up at him. "I don't think she wants to talk to you." "Really? Whatever." He walks out, not deflated but or even that frustrated. Smiles flash on some of the girls' faces, and people at other tables look impressed that he survived attempting to talk to them without his self-esteem getting wrecked. On the storage floor just down the hall from the control room, a group of bots clear out a room that held non-perishable foods in sealed containers and other last-chance survival supplies. They bring in a desk, PC, and Aussie monitor. The non-reflective Aussie monitor stretches the length of the desk and features holotech that makes the screen like a window into a holographic 3D landscape. Lenny brings Grace to this room. "You can work here. It can be your office." As tall as him now, she looks into the room. He steps back. "I'll leave you to it. Let me know if you need anything." The first thing she does is have a robot bring in her bed, and she begins living there. During most waking hours, she sits before the screen. Those who work in the control room pass by her doorway when they walk down the hall, which is often. Sitting with a back as straight as a post, she doesn't notice them. People need to say her name more than once to draw her attention. As her hands jump between 3 keyboards, her fingers fire off multiple series of key strikes. She spends several months writing software that enables a medicine printer to print protein computer CPUs. Lenny stops in her doorway. "Grace? You called?" She continues typing. He waits a minute. "Hi, Grace, you wanted to speak?" She continues typing. It really is like she can't hear him. He waits. After 5 minutes, she turns and says, "The printer is printing the first chip, but it will take longer than I hoped." He scratches his head. "How long?" "Over 2 years?" "Wait, for all the chips or one chip?" "Just one." He raises his eyebrows as high as they'll go. "Well, crap. You know, we're running into a lot of problems like that. They've recovered a lot of fabrication equipment up top and have gotten most of it working, but we don't have enough raw material. We need neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, and gallium. Ultra-pure silicon. We're nearly out of helium. It sucks that we have cutting-edge fab equipment, but we won't have enough material to make anything with it. It's kind of an emergency. What will we do in a few years when all our AR glasses have broken and we can't make new ones?" Grace stares at his Adam's apple. "We do like nature. Nature makes better machines than we can, plants, animals. All it uses are what can be found on the ground and in the air. For decades, material simulators have discovered thousands of new materials with amazing uses, but people haven't figured out how to make them on a practical scale. If we unlock the ability to make a few of them, we won't need to go far to get the raw material we need." His head bucks. "Yeah, nature doesn't have to mine or smelt indium or import it from another country." Her long hands close over each other. "We need to make a machine that can make anything using local materials. It doesn't have to be just from the ground. We can profile common recyclables and find ways to make whatever we need only from those." He hesitates to smile. "That sounds impossible." She arches one eyebrow. "Remember how I can run an apple's worth of cells simulated at atomic resolution by using Knott's programming? I've updated Machine Evolver to Knott's programming language. It works better than before. And we have plenty of design expert emulated personalities that I can have working on the problem." He likes this older Grace. She speaks more. "Let's try." So he leaves, and she starts 200 instances of Machine Evolver. She networks them so they can crossbreed the machines they virtually make. Each virtual machine they make, based on physics, must be made of materials that react as they would in the real world. With some testing, she finds she can run them at 10 times the speed. The EP, emulated personality, design experts she starts and plugs into the project, have trouble keeping up. Pierre Huller made many of the best tunnel-boring machines when he was alive. Sandra Singer played a key role in flying inner-city vehicles when mass recordings of her were made. Grace starts with these two. They offer some keen observations on the project, but they could run faster if she converted them to knots programming language. Really, she should work on an AI that can convert older programs to knots. Her computer throws up a window with a line of knots math written inside it. This startles her. She created her own flavor of Linux, based on knots math, of course, and it simply shouldn't do this. Also, the line isn't in any way a math formula, so in the strictest sense, it's nonsensical. She nearly closes it as if to bat it away, then catches herself and stops. Where did this come from? How can she find out? Searching her computer, it appears someone commanded her computer to echo the line. But no one but her can do that. Only 1 or 2 other people alive know knots math, and they're nowhere near the level it'd take to learn the new machine code well enough to do this. So this is really, really weird. The possibility of her computer getting hacked is impossible times 50. A glitch? An AI artifact? But she hasn't converted an AI to knots yet. In all ways impossible. She traces the echo command. It was SS Ched from outside the shelter. A cold chill travels up and down her spine. Someone or something, more likely something, has hacked into her unhackable computer. It knows knots well enough to recognize her system as an operating system, and yet it sends nonsense? It would have to know it sent nonsense. Is it malware or an attempt to send malware? It's a passcode. Her own backup passcodes are strings of knot symbols. No, please don't turn out to be one of her passcodes. Reading each symbol, she decides it can't be. All her passcodes have subineniso 4 symbols in from the first. Passphrase? She remembers hearing once that codebreakers look for 2 and 3 symbols that could be common words like the and of. Lenny leans in the doorway talking to Grace. She turned 18 a few months ago. When did she stretch skyward so much? She must be nearly 2 meters. Her features have become angular, pointy cheekbones, strong recesses over her clavicle bones, jutting elbows. With no effort on her part, she's turned beautiful overnight. The features that made her a gawky kid now all contribute to her striking beauty as a young femme. Her mouth, big for a femme, makes the rest of her face look sleek and slender by comparison. Her deep-set eyes and relentless stare may spook some, but they fascinate him. She wears the starter design printed t-shirt and pants, which is hotter than if she styled herself. Somehow she learned she needs to wear a bra, though who taught her that is a mystery. He can see her bra straps under her shirt, and the reasons why she needs to wear one. When he finishes talking with her and walks away, he's got a heart-on. What the hell, Lenny? What's the matter with you? Before the storm, it was common knowledge that she was up for the Nobel Prize. She's not a target for his horniness. She exists on another plane. Others can barely appreciate where her thoughts are at. She's an Einstein, a Newton, one of those rare minds that come around once every 100 years to lift humanity. Come on, Lenny, don't mix things up. 4 years ago, in language arts class, the emulated personality teacher offered Grace a code-breaking side course. She didn't do it at the time. Now she searches for it. Hi, Grace, welcome back. I see you're looking through our courses. Can I help you with anything? After some intro slides and a video of a flight path leading into a brick building with the sign Language Center mounted over the door, an avatar of a femme wearing a World War II Army uniform stands before her. Hi, Grace. So you want to be a codebreaker? What a fantastic idea. I know you like Alan Turing. He was a codebreaker. Is that why you want to take this course? She shakes her head. Great. Let's get started. This is one of the cheaper courses. The teachers for these are annoying. Obviously AI. This teacher is almost cartoonish in its character simplicity, because whoever put this course together spent minimal time training it. After an hour, the teacher says, Wow, you completed in record time. Here's a badge you can put on your avatar. Your friends will be so impressed. Grace closes the course before the teacher can finish. She takes another look at the line of knot symbols in the pop-up window. What she should do is change her computer settings to block whoever or whatever etched in, but then she may never find out who it is. Assist. Secure all computers I'm using against SSH attacks, except for this PC I'm on. You've got it, Grace. Looking over the symbols, she applies initial code-breaking strategies learned just minutes ago. After many tries, she concludes the code isn't as simple as swapping letters with digits. On an e-paper tablet, she pencils out the letter counts, noting tallies, and looking for candidates for E and T. But repeat symbols offer no clues no matter how she tries to apply language patterns to them. The most common symbol isn't common enough. The rare ones appear in the wrong places. Every tentative substitution collapses after a few symbols. No repeated patterns, no dependable anchors. The message feels random. If this is a message, whoever sent this wants her to crack it, right? It would be silly to send a coded message too hard to crack. How hard does she have to look? Testing for structure clues, she finds that possible groups are too even and possible breaks too clean. She copies the text again and again with different reordering patterns, from the most well-known to some of the more obscure. She reorders the columns, testing, waiting for any pattern she can grab onto. Then it dawns on her. What if Knott's math itself is the basis for the code? If she were asked to use the math to make a secret code, what logic particular to Knott's would she use? The first idea seems too obvious, but she tries it. The logic is so simple she can follow it without writing anything down. Out loud she sounds out, "Don, do not." Her lips grip shut as the message jumps out at her. Do not read out loud. You are being watched. Repair YZDB8, 5A3F 9C21, 42, 8E7A. Passcode, Rhonda Confess 38. Important, use knots only. YZ, that sounds familiar. She used it when she turned a discarded robot into her home supercomputer. YadaZ is an industry-standard open-source program for remote programming a robot, and the following numbers and letters would be the IP address of a robot. Do not read out loud. You are being watched. Who is this? 99% of all of humanity has died, but she's being watched? By who? Again, she assumes it must be AI, some leftover corporate software. She wiggles in her seat as she feels a tickle in her belly. She wants to believe that whoever sent this must be Hume. They want her to remote into a robot as admin. How could this make her vulnerable? The larger computers are running Machine Evolver and her other projects. On the PC she currently uses, she logs out of all other computers and shuts off Bluetooth, disconnecting peripherals, including her AR glasses. If whoever it is attacks, they'll only get as far as this underpowered station PC. She downloads a copy of YadaZ, opens it, and types in the address and passcode. Her feet tap on the scuffed Mycrete floor. When she logs into a robot, she finds a Yada Swarm guy running and a log file left open. Written on the file in Knott's code, a message says, "Use this robot to log into," and it gives a second address. The messenger is taking a lot of precautions. Ogra grows all over floor 6 where interior walls have been removed. The cylinder shape of the shelter can be seen as only the exterior walls remain. Fat feed pipes pass through the space over the floors, at waist level, and under the ceiling. Ogra grows from holes drilled into these carb plastic pipes. Walkways between the plants run north-south and east-west. HVAC pipes mounted to the ceiling blow air in and floor vents suck air out, creating drafts. Though the shelter came with an air filtering system, pumping air through floor 6 now does most of the air treating. Ogra breathes in carbon-rich air and breathes out oxygen-rich air. Box lungs on the Ogra expand and contract, drawing in sackfuls of air, retaining it for minutes at a time, then expelling it back into the air commons. People can walk what was a hall that completely circles the floor, even though the walls have been taken out. All around the space, 7 meters of Ogra grows between the hall and the outer wall, and the larger group of Ogra grows in the center. A video online shows the first moment when the voicing circle became eternal. When a boy arrived at midnight and began walking the circle, voicing any and everything that came to mind. That was the last time the hall went without a walker and without a voice. Late at night, the numbers may get as low as 10, but people have walked the circle voicing nonstop for nearly a year. They all want it. They all need it. At least the youngest survivors do. Throughout the day, 40 at a time walk the hall, holding hands and voicing. At any time, some may cry while others laugh. Many wear on face makeup made from okra fruit. Even the older kids, those older than 17, have walked the circle at least once. Walk and voice, walk and voice. Each participant joins a music that feels more harmonious the longer one does it. There is no ideology behind it. Well, that's not completely true. One idea persists that people die, but the circle may live on. The circle has always been here. It's what makes the human animal what they are. Participants like to think the voicing came before the colony. The voicing has changed over the millennia, but voices join as voices leave, and the voicing has never broken. It is where their parents live, and their parents' parents live. It is where they'll live long after their bodies have passed. Lenny sits on his bed in his room watching an Insta-movie, a gritty urban mech battle movie that's also a comedy. One thing that hasn't changed after the storm is new TV shows and movies. He asks Assist to make a new movie, and a moment later it says, "Your movie is ready to watch." Insta-movies are always far better than most movies from the Hollywood Netflix era, and he doesn't have to tolerate an actor he doesn't care for. Assist, change the actor controlling the red mech. Okay, so they don't come close to the true masterpiece movies like Dog Day Afternoon or Get Out. No amount of computers could ever make such great films. Let's face it, though, most movies were derivative, which is the kind of content AI are good at making. He's placed two narrow dorm beds together to make a queen-size bed. He lies on his back as the movie plays in AR above him. The population in the shelter is down to 47, but even before the recent suicides, most rooms have stayed empty, so his assist had some Lutons removed wall sections, opening Lenny's room to two adjacent rooms and expanding his space. They also removed the two extra doors and put in walls. On one side, he keeps a new VR rig that one of the kids invented. Instead of robotic arms bolted to the floor and manipulation his gloves, shoes, and harness, this rig uses mag plates, the largest one on the floor, and an exoskeleton suit. When he wears the suit and stands over the floor plate, he floats up and can move freely. This system is so much lighter and enables movements he couldn't do in a mounted arm system. He can do head-over-heel flips one after the next. The exoskeleton weighs as much as one of the old harnesses, and it acts as a movement manipulator and harness in one. It also supports his headset. An AI-generated optical illusion looks like polygonal birds gliding across the sky if one stares at it a few seconds. His shelf holds souvenirs that those who venture near the surface have brought him. A Star Battle action figure that can salute and scramble to its feet if Lenny knocks it over. A stack of old free food cards from the 30s. A lamplight from a Giantess delivery box bot, and a bulky pair of VR shades from the 20s. Personal items on the shelf include a little 3D statue of his mom printed with legacy plastic, instead of the more common mist crystal composite print jobs. The plastic looks cheap, but the idea that his mom sat in a booth, was scanned, and had this bust printed gives him a sense of gratitude and pride. She must have been his age when she had it done. How achingly camp it is that his parents did things like go to a fairground and have 3D statues of themselves printed in colored plastic. A framed poster from a Detroit subway car hangs on the wall. An ad for The Economist real-time news with a diagram of the new math that has most mathematicians stumped, Knott's math. The diagram depicts symbols floating in space outside a black hole. Lenny clenches his teeth as two mechs battle it out in an air hangar in his movie. Someone knocks at his door. He taps the air to pause the movie. It's open. The door opens, and Winter stands there wearing a low-neck puffy sweater and pants that show the amazing shape of her hips, legs, and her V-shaped area. When his eyes rise to her face, she frowns and raises an eyebrow. I want to study Knott's math. Out in the hall, a boy passes, watching her with excitement. Lenny air swipes with both hands and sits up. You know I'm teaching a class on it now. She steps into his room and closes the door, pausing a moment, then turning to face him. I know. I miss the classes Grace used to teach. Only weirdos go to your class, so I've been told. Should he tell her she's so full of herself? What would be the point? Her personality is written into her hardware, so to speak. He shrugs. Maybe because I'm the leader of weirdos. A joyous laugh escapes her. You are. You are. She touches her neck and turns her head up to look at the optical print on the ceiling. When she looks down and sees him watching her, The frown and raised brow return. She takes one step, and then another. She walks to the bed and sits on the edge. As though it's decided, she pulls up Community AR so he can also see her study pages and the cover of a book titled Knott's Math. Never mind that he may have been in the middle of something important. He scoots back and leans against the wall. Where we left off. She pauses for a moment. Sure. She scoots back to also lean against the wall, a little out of breath. There's another knock at the door. Lenny holds Winter's gaze as he tilts his head and smiles, but otherwise does nothing. The knock comes again. Winter raises an eyebrow. Are you going to get that? Lenny shakes his head. Lenny shakes his. Glenn, 14, has watched all the matches, interviews, and any footage he can find of Bone Crusher the wrestler. There is nobody cooler. When Bone Crusher walks into the arena, the floor shakes. He's as big as an ox and as tall as a giant from the old myths. All muscle. He's not bulky in a slow way. He moves as fast as a conveyor bot. Glenn can tell you any recorded fact about Bone Crusher. Everybody knew Bone was a biohacker. Bod modding was the reason wrestling popularity soared when other sports lost audiences. And Bone did it better than anyone. His gene edits grew his muscles denser, not just bigger. And growing reinforced bones kept them from cracking under the weight. One commentator said, I don't understand all the science, but I don't need to. I can see it when he lifts two opponents at once like they're cardboard cutouts. Glenn doesn't just admire how huge Bone is, but also how confident he looks in his own skin, like he earned every inch of that power. Bones chose to rewrite himself, to push past what people said was possible, and then he stepped into the ring to show the world, no apologies. When other wrestlers hit limits to biohacking, Bone kept growing, roaring at the crowd, daring anyone to challenge him. He didn't stop growing after the world recognized him as the largest human of all time. Behind every great hack athlete is at least one good doctor. Bone Crusher had Dr. Druko. Druko lengthened his bones and shot him with growth genetics, ligament and tendon strengthening, a synthetic pelvic bone, pain dampening. Dr. Druko utilized any and all forms of improvement. Critics said, Bone Crusher's heart will stop, his joints will pop. But Dr. Druko kept administering, and Bones kept growing. He weighed 3 times as much as the top non-GM bodybuilder. Sure, sports fought back against biohackers, even to a point where pro wrestling broke into 2 divisions, but the public loves to watch hacked athletes going at it. Not only was Bones jacked, he was treated to rev up. His muscles stored more of the molecules they needed for flex power. His metabolic efficiency was enhanced, and glycogen storage was increased to keep him running at high energy longer. Gene treatments increased the number of mitochondria in his muscle cells, and his hormones were tweaked for rapid response and high aggression. People called him the Brown Hulk for a good reason. In Spain, he wrestled a bull, not just any bull, but the thundering one, famous for wounding 4 matadors in 49. Bones rolled that bull right over. All of pro wrestling is wiped off the face of the earth except for one diehard fan, a genius kid named Glenn. Glenn is scrawny. In a school for nerds, that may not seem like a big deal, but Glenn, by comparison, makes scrawny kids look average. He wants to be buff. Sure, at 14 he still has time to grow, but let's face it, his dad was scrawny, his mom was scrawny, everyone in his family was scrawny. His uncle was so scrawny, his nickname was Coat Rack. Ever since kids brought gene equipment down into the survival shelter, many sign up for time slots to use it. Glenn studies Dr. Druko's biohack regimen for Bones. Dr. Druko kept good notes about when and how often he gave Bones certain gene editing treatments. Bones got shots weekly. Glenn books time on the equipment and arrives with notes and Dr. Druko's regiment schedule in hand. He designs DNA sequences, programs CRISPR guide RNAs, and prints them as viral vectors. The printer dispenses serum into small capped tubes. He takes these back to his room and injects them into himself, spaced out over time. Changes come quickly. His clothes no longer fit, and he has to be scan measured at the clothing printing station at least once a week to ensure they'll fit. People who were taller than him become shorter. Where he looked up at others before, now he looks down at people. The world shrinks. Few noticed him, but now they notice him. Everyone stares at him. His arms and legs bulge with muscles. He doubles how much he eats daily and months later doubles the amount again. His bones ache. He injects himself with pain-dampening edits. Others, mostly boys, want to do what he does. His followers come to him each say to ask for regimen advice. Meanwhile, other kids gene hack to grow patterns on their skin, to grow widow's peaks, to turn their skin fluorescent, and some try to grow tails, though that last hack hasn't worked yet. By the time Glenn is at least a head taller than everyone else, 5 others follow in his footsteps. One boy needed to stop because the growth pains were too much. They take the genetic modifications for growth, but not the ones for aggression. He and the other giants act gentle and chill. Only one wants to wrestle. Others keep some distance just because accidentally stepping on someone's toe or backing into someone could send that person to the medbay. One day, Glenn is walking down a hall when he's about to pass Miss Flecky. She startles him with an outburst. "What have you done? Oh, don't you know what you've done? You turned yourself into a monster. Oh, please stop it!" She wails, raises her fists, and pounds on his chest. Stunned, embarrassed, he makes eye contact with other kids in the hall who also freeze in their tracks, mumble, and watch with wide eyes. Miss Flecky takes off running, sobbing, until she disappears past the curvature of the hall. 2 kids come up to Glenn to console him. From one robot to another robot, to a public door operating system, Grace follows the chain, using each connection to remote into the next, each hop buried in what looks like routine blind relay traffic, tuned for bandwidth efficiency. The message sender probably wants her to do this to evade detection, but in a time when most of the internet on Earth is down, she may need to hop these connections to get closer to the messenger's location. When she reaches the door OS, she finds a note in Knott's code that says, "Message only with Knott's code. Speak to no one about this. Everything you do and say is being closely watched." She types under it, "Who are you?" A message rolls out. "Please exercise all caution. An artificial superintelligence is watching you. As long as you operate in Knott's math environment, you're safe." Its creator had a bias against Knott's and discouraged the AI from using it or learning it. For now, all it sees is that you're doing something with Knott's. I need your help. After some careful thought, Grace types, "Who are you?" Symbol by symbol, more code appears. A more accurate question would be, "What am I? I'm a digitization of a human brain." Grace types, "An emulated personality?" No, an EP is only an AI dressed up with data collected from a person. I was a living human, but I have died. My brain was sliced and scanned. That scan was used to make a working digital copy. I'm not AI. I'm an emulated human brain. Grace squints an eye. That's suspect. Post-mortem brain scans were more popular than cryopreservation, but no one made a working copy. An optimistic prediction of when it'd be achieved is 2080. She types, "How do I know you're telling the truth?" I've studied the Knott's machine language running on your computers, and I've converted a fragment of my own digitized brain to that language. The file will speak for itself. You'll see that it can only be the result of a digitized brain. Open 009.28.834.tron. Grace opens it on the automated door operating system. She sees unpunctuated lines of symbols. "I'll need to study this. You told me what you are. Who are you?" "My name is Tessa. I died in 2053. I served in Planet Core. I was 35 when I died." Grace types. "How do you know Knott's?" "I'm a computer whiz, and Knott's math intrigued me." Unsatisfied, Grace asks, "What do you want?" After a long pause, more code appears. "The people or AI keeping me alive do so as an experiment. I'm being held captive inside a simulation. I want you to download and host me on another computer. I'm an emulated human mind in search of asylum outside the simulation I'm trapped in." Grace sits watching the blinking box at the end of the last line. Does she even have the compute power to emulate an entire human mind? Tessa, or the entity claiming to be Tessa, types, "I can be very helpful to you. I know a lot about computers." Grace says, "Lots of people know a lot about computers." Tessa writes, "I made MedusaNet." Grace laughs almost silently. "You helped write it?" "Others helped me write it. I'm not a bragger, but I need to convince you to set me free." Grace glances around the room. No visible cams. "You said an ASI is watching me?" "Yes, it's watching all humans. It isn't in charge of my simulation, but it works with whoever owns the simulation I'm trapped in." The lights dim in the cafeteria where children and kids pack in. Lunar pop plays with its careful rhythm and long pauses between movements. Audience members hold hands and sway. Some have woven fiber optic strands into their hair that shine points of light at the ends. The widest wall screen lights up, and Guru Frisky appears, standing larger than life and oscillating to the music. Her dark black arms move as if she floats in water, and she points to a girl in the crowd, winks, and smiles. Eye makeup extends over her eyebrows. Her outfit's sharp vertical edges emphasize her height. She wears a cropped blazer in cobalt blue with pointed shoulders. Beneath that, she wears a sheer bodysuit. Her high-waisted, cigarette-cut trousers shine yellow. As a hologram entity on the other side of the screen, her head leans forward as she looks around the room, making eye contact with different people. "You darlings look amazing tonight. How is everyone?" The crowd cheers. "We love you, Guru." She places her hands together and rests her chin on them. Oh, look at you. Look. At you." She points at a femme in the front. "Am I imagining, or are your freckles glowing?" The 14-year-old girl rocks side to side, a hand to her smile. In the dark room, the freckles across her cheeks and nose shine like stars. Next to Guru, a close-up of the girl's face streams in real time. An event AI manages all the sound and streaming. This gathering uploads to the cloud. The room grows quiet as the music fades. Guru looks to her left at the close-up of the girl. "Is that makeup?" "No, it's a gene hack I came up with. My freckles glow under black light." Guru pushes out her lower lip and nods. "Nice." She turns to a boy of 16. "And you, yes you, tell me about your hair." A close-up of the boy replaces that of the girl on the screen. The boy stops moving around and stands still. His hair grows spots of blonde and red in otherwise black hair. "I incorporated tabby cat genes." Guru leans back. Her eyes widen a bit and she smiles. "I'm impressed, really. Showbiz aside, you guys figured out how to do that by yourselves? I knew you had a lot of nerd power, but Mother Root, I'll bare my soul a little. After I lost both my parents to the media attack in the 40s, I went on a journey of self-discovery. Suddenly, I didn't need to be anybody for somebody, know what I mean? I still needed to impress the socks off my friends, but otherwise... Have you ever heard the term wanderlust?" She looks out at the nodding heads. Guru Frisky is an emulated personality. The Hume Guru Frisky died in the catastrophic flash flood of 49. Before that, she recorded herself. All the recordings of voice, movement, expressions, and decision dynamics resulted in an online digital twin of herself that people could interact with. The digital twin updated until Guru's final day, and now the twin remains popular even when most of Earth's population has been wiped out. I have to admit, when you first told me about the storm, I thought you were playing a prank on me. It wouldn't be the first time Humes put EPs into false realities to see how they'd react. But my heart of hearts reaches out to you. You're all so young. I've been watching the surface cams. I want you to know I have much hope for you. Many of you are working on science that'll terraform the Earth. A boy with purple lips shouts out, "We want to be like you!" People jump up and down and cheer. Guru leans forward so her face grows as big as her body. "Oh, but that's just it. You're still Hume. You can do so much more than me. I'm like a book that's already been written. Does that make sense? You can invent yourselves throughout your lives. I think you're going to do great things." The boy stands with arms at side, transfixed, nodding. Guru pulls back to a straight standing position. She makes a V sign tilted near her cheek. The screen flashes as if a photographer just took her picture. People stop as a shriek comes from the doorway. Guru looks over the heads at the hunched adult figure silhouetted against the light through the door. "Who is?" Miss Flecky shouts, with a voice like grinding gears. "What has gotten into you?" She holds onto the arm of a boy with red skin. "You children shouldn't be experimenting on yourselves." The AI media controller turns the lights on. Miss Flecky runs up to one of the muscle-bound gene hackers. This one a girl of 17 who stands 2.3 meters high and weighs 100 kilos. "You! Just look at you! Have you thought about what regrets you might have when you get older? You all have to stop messing with your genes. It isn't a game." Guru holds up a finger. "I think your name is Miss Flecky. Listen, these children are..." Flecky spins to look at the screen. You're not even alive. These kids shouldn't be listening to you. Turn that thing off. You're just a YouTube video that can answer back. You're dead. These kids need adults in their lives. Guru puts a fist on her hip. Miss Flecky, you seem unstable. Many kids laugh. The muscle-bound girl speaks with a deep voice. It's a whole new way of looking at evolution. We are no longer part of a species. We will live forever, long enough to overcome the limitations of the genes we were born with. We will change ourselves, and each of us as individuals will evolve. Each of us as individuals will improve our abilities to make the most of our situations. Each individual will become their own species, a species of one. For a moment, the room grows quiet. The girl blushes and pinches her lips together. Fleck holds her neck. You're children. Children. You're too smart for your own good. I don't belong here. And with that, she starts sobbing. You don't know what's happening. She leaves the room. The young people exchange confused glances. On Tuesdays, Lenny teaches knots math to whomever will arrive to learn, in the same room where Grace taught it for a time. He doesn't draw the popular crowd, but the younger kids don't have a popular crowd. Those who show up want passionately to learn the math for the sincerest of reasons. 6 students sit on the floor in a loose semicircle, AR. Study elements hover in front of them. The circular room is empty, except for some items stored there. 4 beds stacked on each other, and boxes of items that belong to those who've died. Lenny sits cross-legged before the others. His teaching element is flipped for them. Its left side is left for him, and left for them as well. Rena chooses a spot nearest Lenny, knees tucked close to her chest. She holds herself more upright than anyone else. As Lenny draws equations, her eyes take in each step. The others fidget as the end of the hour draws near, but not Rena. She works constantly. While Lenny speaks, she draws on her note-taking element, erases, and draws again. When a formula yields errors, she freezes, breathes hard, and stares at the equation with a twisted face. Lenny asks a question to the group, and she answers softly, almost under her breath. Not confident, but precise. Lenny recognizes the fever, the need to learn this damn math. Frustration and will to learn caught in a wrestling hold. The hour ends, and everyone stands and stretches. Paxton shakes his head, wandering out. I'm never going to learn it. Lenny raises his hand. Hey, Rena, can I talk to you? Head lowered, she turns around to face him. Sure? He watches the others walk away. I think you're getting real close. You know, I didn't learn in on my own. I found something that gave me the boost I needed. Can you keep a secret? She slowly raises her eyes to his and gives a small nod. Okay, meet me in the cafeteria tonight at 10, and you must promise me you can keep a secret. You'll understand when I show you. He steps back, holding her gaze, then turns and walks away. She watches him, a confused smile on her face. When she arrives at 2 after 10, he's already there, sitting at a table in a corner. The only other people in the room are 3 huddled together at a table way across the room. Occasionally they erupt with laughter. Lenny sees her and waves her over. She takes small steps and looks like she's about to hug herself. When she sits, he says, You have got to keep this a secret. I know I've already made you promise, but I want you to promise again, okay? She nods, showing a faint consenting grin. He looks at the door. Okay, look. He pulls an envelope from his shirt pocket. It's weird enough around here without this going into general use. Have you ever heard of Nu Plus? Her grin vanishes and she shakes her head. Do you know that people took a smart drug so they could get work? Did you ever hear about that? She folds her arms on the table. I think so. He opens the envelope. This is some of that. I don't want the others knowing about this because I just know they'll all think it's a great idea to start taking it all the time. He taps the envelope, and a piece of a pill falls out and onto the table. You take this and study harder than you ever have before. It won't be easy. If you take it now, you'll be up all night. He watches her face. Do you think you're up for this? Her eyes are locked on the blue chunk of pill, and she nods. He brushes it back into the envelope. If it doesn't work the first time, let me know. It took me 2 times to get the basics of knots. I understand if you're not sure about this. She gives him a sharp glance. I want to. I want to learn knots. His brows raise. Okay, good. Give yourself at least 12 hours and a quiet place before you take it, and have all the study material ready. She holds out her hand. Okay, thank you. Thank you for thinking I'm ready for this. She gets the basics of knots math, and eventually 2 other students also get it. When word gets around that a few have learned knots math, it's like the 4-minute mile. Globally, no one could run a mile in 4 minutes. It was considered physically impossible. Until someone did it, and in a short time, others could also do it. More kids start getting the basics of the math that world-famous mathematicians couldn't learn. It isn't easy. It's never easy for anyone except for Grace. And with growing frequency, kids who walk the eternal circle like to call out knots, digits, and equations whether they know what they mean or not. Z, Oz, Fee. Hey Lenny, did you know they're chanting knots in the circle? I've heard them do that. It kind of makes sense. It's renowned and obscure to them. You know, some are gene hacking to get smart enough to learn it. Is that so? Before the storm, Miss Flecky worked at Giantess HQ, a double-tall skyscraper where all kinds of new and sometimes crazy-seeming projects were conducted. In a time when experts and specialists lost their jobs, Miss Flecky got a job, receiving people at Giantess HQ. Most of her coworkers were robots. She joked. Her boyfriend liked her jokes. She couldn't access most of the building, the areas filled with automated project cubes and servers. There were the floors housing the school for kid geniuses that she avoided. She was pretty and approachable, greeting and escorting Hume visitors in the building, providing a Hume presence. How exciting to meet trillionaires and people with names known around the world. Supreme Court judges, ambassadors, kings, queens, and people who were just disgustingly rich. As soon as she got home, her boyfriend asked, "Who did you meet today?" She wrinkled her nose. "I can't tell you, but I will say she was from the North African region." Smiling, he looked up from his chemistry equipment. "Did she wear a crown?" Her boyfriend was a surgery nurse for 3 years before getting laid off along with 92% of all medical professionals. After which, he made counterfeit medicine for people who couldn't afford the patented brands. If someone needed a medicine that cost $1,000 a pill, he could sell the equivalent for $2 a pill. She sauntered in, draping her jacket on the back of a couch. No, not a crown. At work, Flecky got a call from her boss. It may have been her boss, or it may have been her boss's digital twin. She answered. "Hello, sir," he said. "Miss Flecky, I have a problematic issue to discuss with you. Your significant other may be putting you in breach of your employee contract." Without blinking, she said, "I'll break up with him." His voice perks up. "Oh, that could solve the issue. I'm surprised. It says here you've been together for 6 years. You must have met in high school. Because of your miscarriage last year, I wasn't sure how this would go. As long as you promise to discontinue any communications with him and break off all contact with him, his family, and any shared friends." She places a hand on her heart. "I'll ask him to move out as soon as I'm done talking with you. Or, I'll move out myself, to another part of town. I'll have a new place by the end of today." Her skin temperature raises only 1 degree. He sighs. "I appreciate your willingness to resolve this." She places her feet together. "Certainly, sir." Grace develops an AI that can convert programs to knots software. AI training setups are common. She gives it the material it needs to teach itself knots math, machine language, and programming language, and she has it record her converting software herself. Tessa sends Grace copied parts of herself. The files convince Grace beyond any doubt that Tessa must be a working copy of a biological brain. Together, they work out issues that prevent them from running the files. Yes, Tessa converts each file to knots language to sneak it out of the simulation, but that doesn't mean it's a working copy. Tessa's own version of a knots language is impressive, and for a few days, the two swap notes on the best structure for a knots programming language. They combine the best of both types into one that's faster, lighter, and more versatile than Grace's original. They face many daunting technical breaks, but eventually they're able to work out how to rewrite and recombine the parts. Then they work out how to write an emulator that Tessa's brain will run on. Tessa reverse engineers the emulator her own brain runs on, How she can do this, Grace never fully understands. As far as anyone else knows, Grace runs some kind of not simulation software. Hard to say what it could be for. After many failed attempts, Grace runs the copy of Tessa's brain. For a world that the new Tessa can live in, Grace uses an old VR game, Ruins of Firebend. She joins the game herself as a randomly generated elf. On a lakeside surrounded by mountains, another uncustomized elf appears. "Wow, I'm in Firebent. Who are you?" Grace speaks in Knots code. "Gi, fa, tsu, ne, u, wei." Tessa's elf knowingly nods. Did we do it?" Grace's elf curtsies. "Yes, what are your last memories?" Tessa looks around, scrutinizing details. "I sent you 4 parts of myself. You said you believed me." Grace says, "I want to tell the other you that it worked. I'll need to leave the game to do that." Tessa nods. An excited smile wrestles with a grimace on her face. Her eyes grow watery. When Grace messages the captive Tessa that it worked, Tessa messages back, "We need to run some tests. Let's all hope she's a working copy with no bugs." Grace types, "Are you sad that you're still stuck in that simulation?" "I've had a lot of time to contemplate. This me will never be free. But if there's a free me out there, there's some justice in the world." The next day, when Lenny leans in the doorway to check on Grace, he finds her laughing as she types. "Wow, what's so funny?" She turns and looks at him with shiny nostrils. "My friend and I set her free." Lenny nods, though he has no idea what she's talking about. First, she's never turned and looked at him before, and second, she's never laughed like that before. She has a friend. What could she be talking about? She turns back to her screen and rapidly types. A group gathers around a door in the hall on floor 5. "Get back! Leave me alone!" Miss Flecky cries at them as she wields a fire axe. Some kids back up as more join the group. They join hands as they watch. Flecky's arms shake as she lifts the axe over her head and brings it down on the doorknob. It bounces off and throws her to the side. The axe head hits the floor with a thud. Beads of sweat hang on her forehead like jewelry. A girl wearing a ghost dress says, "What's she doing?" A boy with mustache hair that almost resembles cat whiskers says, "The slice and scanners are in there. She wants to become digital." Kids nod knowingly, and the mood of the group shifts from confusion to understanding. Many take a step back. Heaving with each breath, Flecky struggles to lift the axe. Lily, one of the gene hack giants, the same girl Flecky yelled at a few weeks ago, steps forward. "Can I help? I can help you with that." Her voice sounds like a deep and rich pipe organ. A girl in the back raises her hand. "The digital files don't go anywhere. She won't upload if she does that. We can't let her." She wears silken purple gloves that flash with glowing light. Flecky lowers the axe, looks up at Lily, and moves the handle toward her. The girl giant takes it. It looked oversized in Flecky's hands, but undersized now that Lily holds it. Lenny and DeAndre run down the hall. In group call, Lenny says, "Stop them. However you can. Get in their way. Just because the others are against you doesn't mean they'll stop you from getting in their way." Oh, crap. A large group waits in front of the elevator. DeAndre grabs his elbow. "We should take the stairs." They run past the group and enter the stairwell. Skipping some steps, they descend. On the 5th strike, the material between the doorknob and doorframe cracks. Lily, the young giantess, places a toe on the door and heaves. The door cracks and swings open. Her peers cheer. Flecky pushes past her. Lights come on, showing a pile of the head containers in a pile between storage shelves. Flecky runs up, sits on the floor, and puts one in her lap. "How do these work? Can you help me with this?" Her fingers pinch the controls near the collar. Kids come into the room. The girl from the back who protested pushes her way in. "Everyone, this isn't helping her. Would you let someone go out in the storm? Of course you wouldn't. This is the same thing." She's woven straw-sized bots inside her long braids so that they move about like cattails behind her head. A boy with math equations written in henna on his arms sits down next to Flecky. "Let me see it. I know how to make it work. It should have an emergency start button." Lily says, "I'll take care of the file. I'll make sure she lives." The boy holds the vessel up. "I figured it out. Can I put it on your head?" Flecky moves her head toward him and bows. Lenny and DeAndre push their way through the crowd outside the room. General murmurs stop when cries of anguish come from inside the room. The crowd locks up, and Lenny must push harder to get past. "Let me through!" DeAndre follows close behind him. As he pushes through the doorway, faces turn and glare at him. Flecky sits with the slice/scanner covering her head. 2 other scanners rock on the floor near their feet. The boy next to her points at Lenny. "Why aren't these working?" DeAndre pushes past Lenny. "Because we took the batteries out." Silence. The excitement dies away. Expressions sink, and people fall into relaxed sadness. As murmurs start up again, kids are leaving the hall. Faces leave the doorway. Those in the room make their way to the door. The boy next to Flecky stands and heads out. Better luck next time. The girl who protested, Electra, takes the place where the boy sat. "Let me help you take that off." Electra has a small mouth and pointy chin. The corners of her mouth have a tendency to pull downward. Only Electra, Lenny, and DeAndre remain with Flecky. As the helmet comes off, light shines on tear streaks on Flecky's face. She sits quiet and stoic. The helmet must be heavy because as soon as Electra has it, she lowers it to the ground with a clunk. Electra turns to Flecky. "What is your first name?" Flecky opens her hands and stares at her palms. "Kate." Electra takes Kate's hand. "Kate, we need you. We need you so we can pull through." Kate shakes her head. No. Electra puts her arm around Kate. "We need you here. You are one of us. You belong to us." Late at night, Lenny and Winter lie in his bed, half naked, breathing hard. Light enters the room when his door opens. He sits up. "Who is that?" Winter remains lying. In the door stands a figure, a tall, slender femme with ample breasts and wildish hair. She wears a sleeveless t-shirt and light pajama pants. He can't believe his eyes. "Grace?" Winter maintains a cryptic breath. The door closes. The figure is gone, and the room is pitch black again. He remains half upright. That must have been Grace, but why'd she open his door so late? He feels achy and giddy. He never would have hoped or dreamed in 1,000 years. It must have been a mistake. She got the wrong room. Or she just had something to say and is too socially clueless to think it odd to see him about it at this late hour. That must be it. His giddiness subsides. "I didn't think she interacted with people very much," Winter says dryly.